Good afternoon, everybody. You are all very welcome to graduation 2022. It's so exciting. Just wait for the music to die. Lovely. Great stuff. Okay, a chéimethe is sa roiní úsla thar cheann an choláiste ba bháil an fíor cuoin fáilte a chuir roimh ilig an seo omhranóna. Agus tásúla go muinnig sibh ilig tanamh agus sósamh as an ócáid speisialta seo. Good afternoon, graduates and guests. My name is Professor Niamh Harrigan and I'm Vice President of Academic Affairs here at Mary Immaculate College, and I'll be your Master of Ceremonies today. I have the very great pleasure of welcoming you here this afternoon for what is for our college the pinnacle of the academic year. Today we celebrate the accomplishments of our graduating students, of whom we are enormously proud. We are delighted in particular to resume our traditional ceremonies. So last year we had graduation, but we weren't able to accommodate family and partners in the auditorium itself, and we're able to do that this year, so we're delighted. It's wonderful to see families gathered here today celebrating our graduates' achievements. I have to say, I think graduation is a day for the mammies and daddies, the partners, the friends, as much as it is for the graduates, because they're the ones who support everybody. Sorry, I think our mic is reverbing a little bit here. They're the ones who support everybody, and this is the day when you get to see what the result of all that support is. Such is the demand for our graduation today. We have 2 overflow rooms in the college live streaming the event. They are TN1 in this building and T118 in the Tara building. And a big welcome to everybody across the campus today, particularly if you happen to be watching it on live stream. The formal proceedings will commence shortly, but I would like to highlight a number of things before the formalities begin. Firstly, we are required to adhere to health and safety regulations, so take note of the exit close to you. You can see them here around the auditorium, and in the event of a fire alarm activation, please proceed to the nearest exit. MIC has engaged the services of press photographers for the purposes of these conferring ceremonies. These photographs will be used for press and promotional purposes on behalf of MIC. If you do not wish for your photograph to be taken for this purpose, please make this known to the photographer in question, and they can be identified by their official MIC press photographer lanyard. If you wish to avail of a professional photograph of you and your family following the ceremony, Lafayette Photography is situated on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the Tara building. A framing service is also available for your parchment, and this is on site in the Tara building should you wish to frame your parchment today. The proceedings will start with the academic procession, so please stand when the music commences and then remain standing while the procession comes in. I'll gesture to you to sit down, and there'll be an opening blessing followed by a formal convening of the ceremony and an address of welcome from the Chairperson of MIC's governing authority. The presentation of parchments, awards and prizes will be made, and the presidents of both the University of Limerick and Mary Immaculate College will then speak. Following the speeches, we will stand for the national anthem, and then the procession party will leave. In conclusion, our academics, along with our newly conferred graduates, will process out of the venue to end the proceedings. Can I just emphasise that staff will instruct you when to leave your seat, and please don't leave your seat until you get the nod from staff to go. There is a fire safety issue if we have loads of people clustering around the exits, kind of crushing to get out. So please just wait. Everyone will be called on term. There'll be loads of time to take photographs, and you will be instructed when it's your turn to go. On leaving the venue, refreshments for you and your family will be available in the foundation building, and please remember to return your gown before leaving the college. During the conferring, each graduate will be called by name to receive their parchment. Please check you're sitting in the seat assigned to you. Can I ask all the graduates to check that? Because if you're not, you may be here walking up the stage and we may be calling somebody else's name. Staff will assist you with guiding you to the stage, so there's no need to worry. And once on stage, the President of UL will present you with your parchment. Be mindful that your photograph will be taken as you're being presented with your parchment, and the photographer will be positioned here. So you see the photographer waving there. Hello, everybody. You're going to look gorgeous. Should your parchment be in need of amendment, please email Student Academic Administration next week and we'll provide you with another parchment. Each of you has a conferring booklet. That's a really nice memento of the occasion, so please take it with you when you're going home. It's a nice thing to have. For all the tweeters, Facebookers, TikTokers, Instagrammers, all of you who are on social media, which is almost everyone who's graduating today, I suspect, we will be using the hashtag #MICgraduation, and we would be delighted if you would do likewise. It's great for everybody to see each other's pictures and get a real sense of the excitement of the day. Images and videos from the various ceremonies will be available to view after the event on MIC's social media account. Finally, I would say to the graduates themselves, today is, as our chaplain office said, it's the beginning of the end and the end of the beginning and the beginning of the end. It's the end of one thing and it's the start of something else. I know all of you have put huge amount of work to get here, and often you're moved on to the next stage even by the time graduation arrives, but I think it's really important to take a moment, pat yourself on the back and say, wow, I got here through all the difficulty, and let's face it, we all know there was tremendous difficulty in the last couple of years, so our graduates today really deserve to take that moment and take that pat on the back. So congratulations to you all, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Goramila Mahagav Galer.
Please stand for the academic procession.
Good afternoon, everyone. I call upon the college chaplain, Father Michael Wall, to read the conferring blessing.
Slucht as litter de pól cigne físig. Sinnéan fó a dhéimar mar glúine, I bhíneise an ahar, ón na mítar gach clán nabh agus a talamh. Go dugur sé díomh as olbhathas a glóra, go bhaigh sibh neart agus cumas in bhéanach trín spirit. Go mbeidh go Christ I bhó gríthe trí credibh, agus go mbeidh sibh fréamhathe agus bunthe sa gró. Slí go bhéidigh sibh féin agus na naomh go léir, ad agus lehead, agus irde agus dainas a hiiscint. Go gurigh sibh ólas a gró Christ atáas chun tuiscinne, agus go líonfar sibh de líonmharach umláin dé. Glór don taobh a féidir I bhfad níos mó a dhéanamh ná mar a dtíorfaimísne nó smíanamh féin trí an cóg de taig obair unning. Glór go raibh aige san aglis agus I Christ, Isa ó glún go glún, go brach na brethe. Amen.
I am pleased to call on the President of the University of Limerick, Professor Kirsten May, to formally convene a meeting of the University for the purpose of conferring academic awards.
President, Mary Immaculate College, members of the Mary Immaculate College Governing Authority and trustees, members of Conferring Academic Council, faculty members, distinguished guests, families, friends, and graduates of the class of 2022. A meeting of the university is hereby convened for the purpose of conferring academic awards. Exercising the power granted to the University of Limerick by Oireachtas Éireann, I hereby confer awards of the university on the graduates of the Faculty of Arts and the Faculties of Education. Students not present are hereby conferred in absentia.
I am pleased to call on the Chairperson of the Governing Authority of Mary Immaculate College, Bishop Brendan Leahy, to make an address of welcome.
So Mayor, President of the University of Limerick, Professor Kirsten May, trustees of the college, members of An Tuaithe Ros Rialaithe, college staff and students, distinguished guests, parents, family, friends, and of course above all, graduates of the class of 2022. It is my very great honour as chairman of An Tuaithe Ros Rialaithe of Mary Immaculate College to welcome you here today to this conferring ceremony. Tá anáthas ó chrí orm céad míle fáilte a chuir ribh ile an so. Is speisialt an ócádaí so, go háirithe dómh siúd go léir atá ag buint gradam inniuh, dinim cóghártas díomh go léir. In congratulating you, the graduating class of the 2022, I greet your families, of course, who are here, and relations, some of whom may be linked directly with us here in Mary I virtually, but I'm sure others maybe through streaming, whatever. We want to say you are very much with us, and we know the parents, families, friends are rightly proud of all of you, the graduates today. So I too greet you, greet others who are joining us then in the various ways in our ceremony, the academic staff who have generously accompanied you to this day. It's wonderful to see so many of them here today. And as well as that, all the professional staff, those in support services, student support services, student union representatives, those involved in the chaplaincy services and other colleges services who have worked with great dedication for you. I am indeed grateful to all here in Mary Immaculate College for all that they do, and in particular I pay tribute to Professor Eugene Wall, the college president, for his wise leadership. I'm mindful, of course, of a debt of gratitude that we have to so many as well who are part of the extended family here in Mary Immaculate College, in particular the University of Limerick, of course, and we're here under their auspices, and we greet Professor May again and thank her for all her encouragement, the HEA and the Department of Education. So, graduation day, it's certainly a big day. It's a day of the Lord. It's a day to recognize with gratitude the effort you have made to get you to this day. You and then also many others with you who accompanied you, who supported you, your family members and others, friends. And you're a group that had to unexpectedly change and adapt, to readjust along the way as COVID came in. So I want to greet you and salute you because as the graduates of 2022, you have certainly shown resilience, adaptability, and patience. So I thank you and I greet you for that, and I acknowledge it, and I hope too in your own heart and soul you recognize these have been qualities alive in you in these years. The philosopher Kierkegaard says that we understand life looking back. And maybe that's something we need to do today. It's a good, take a moment. What have been the significant highlights for the past few years in my life? How's life gone for me? How has it grown? I understand it looking back, but I have to live it looking forward. And of course, that's what we do on a day-to-day graduation day. We rejoice in the day, we look back and we're thankful, we're happy and proud of this moment, but we look forward. As you graduate today, I would simply like to invite you just to consider the context in which you are graduating. The world is going through a dramatic situation. Sometimes it's happening, we're almost oblivious to it. The war in Ukraine has brought war back to a continent that hasn't seen war for decades. There were 2 other world wars in this continent. So many other wars going on all over the world. Yemen, Syria, Afghanistan, goes on the list. So much so that Pope Francis so wisely says, we are living through a 3rd world war going on piecemeal, but going on. There's such an escalation of sentiments of violence, hostility, hatred. Again, Pope Francis has written, every war leaves our world worse than it was before. War is a failure of politics and of humanity, a shameful capitulation, a stinging defeat before the forces of evil. And alongside war, there is much social anxiety due to issues about the environment, the economic and social pressures that people feel under now. And there's even talk of atomic weapons. That's something we haven't been really talking about for decades. So we do need to recognize, all of us, that we can't be neutral or indifferent to what's going on. So in his project of a global compact for education, Pope Francis invites us all to rediscover education in its deepest dimensions, as directed as having a purpose towards creating a new world, a better world, a different world, a world of peace, a world of fraternity, that puts the human person at the center. So as you're graduating today from this Catholic college, I'd invite you to make your own the aspirations and values that are enshrined in that project of a global compact for education, and indeed the education goals of the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Developmental Goals. There are some 216,000 Catholic schools around the world, attended by over 60 million pupils, 1,750 Catholic universities with over 11 million students. It's the largest educational project worldwide. Together, if we enter into this vision of recognizing education has the purpose of a new world, a world of peace, we can form a global compact that makes a difference. And each one of you is a tile in that mosaic. So I invite you as you graduate today, yes, to look back, to enjoy this moment, but now maybe in your heart, to make a commitment, to dedicate yourself, your learning, your research, your talents, your dreams, to the service of a promotion of peace and reconciliation and care of the environment, our common home. Let that be the purpose of all your achievement. We can't grow resigned to war. We can't let others grow resigned to war. We all need to sow seeds of peace and reconciliation. The world is waiting for your unique contribution. Don't disappoint it. You've shown great resilience here. You've achieved much. So now go forth, make a difference in your future lives. The world is in your hands. Once again, congratulations to each of you and your parents and family. Ber bua agus benacht. Gramagrif.
Thank you, Bishop Leahy. Before we move on to calling the parchments, I'd just like everybody to check that their mobile phones are on silent or on airplane mode, because obviously we don't want phones going off when it's somebody's big moment up here on the stage. I call upon the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor William Leahy, to present the candidates for the conferring of undergraduate and taught postgraduate awards in arts.
The Academic Council of the University has been satisfied that the following candidates are worthy to be conferred with undergraduate and taught postgraduate awards. Therefore, I present the candidates and request to you to confer the awards on them.
So we'll start with the Bachelor of Arts programme, and candidates will be called in alphabetical order of surname. So we begin with Joe Ahern. Walk over there. Connor Allen. Adela Azopardi. Joy Bala Ahmed. Mark Barry. Sarah Jane Barry. Yasmin Barry. John Bateman. Aisling Bean. Wael Benayada. Niamh Davnett Blake. Ewan Burke. Jade Burke. Christina Brennan. Colin Brigdale. Hazel Brown. Jeremiah Burke. Zara Burns-Orr. Liam Butler. Well done, Liam. Grace Byrne. Killian Callahan. Nearly came a cropper there. Jamie Campbell. Adam Canny. Sarah Jane Carmody. Stephen Carr. Kathy Casey. Susan Casey. Keelan Casey Donnelly. Joy Cinnamond. Amy Clifford. Erica Coleman. Lee Collins. Josh Considine. Maeve Cook. Paul Curry. Rihanna Costello. Sarah Costello. Aisling Coughlin. Dermot Coughlin. Amy Coveney. Amy Coyne. Roisin Kremen. Seamus Cronin. Aisling Cullen. Phoebe Kineen. Teresa Daly. Sophie Daniels. Ciara Deegan. Catherine Deehan. Niamh Delaney. Adam Derby. Ellen Diggins. Grace Dillon. Kate Dillon. Mairead Dillon. Owen Donegan. Michael Doran. Owen Dowd. Miriam Dowling. Shane Dowling. Evan Doyle. Saoirse Duffy. Emily Duggan. Mark Dunphy. Luke Egan. Sean English. Katie Phelan, no? Oh, sorry. Sabina Farshid Fartome. Well done, Sabina. Congratulations on your award. Katie Phelan. Dara Fitzgerald. Grania Fitzgerald. Ciara Flaherty. Lauren Flaherty. Aisling Foley. Tara Foley. Alana Freeman. Dara Gallagher. Ronnie Galvin. Jason Galan. Georgia Glue. Brendan Goff. Dylan Grace. Corey Graney. Shauna Green. Declan Grogan. Zingu. Peter Guckian. Kathleen Guidera. Sarah Guina. Katie Hallinan. Katie Hannon. Jack Hardiker. Elizabeth Harding. Emily Hayes. Patrick Hayes. Emma Healy. Mark Heffernan. Owen Hegarty. Emily Hickey. Katie Hickey. Lorraine Hoban. Emma Hogan. Katie Horgan. Catherine Hourigan. Emer Hunter. Claire Justice. Matthew Kavanagh. Danny Keane. Martina Keane. Rachel Keegan. Connor Kelly. Lauren Kelly. Alana Kenny Flaherty. Hannah Kiley. Emily Kinsella. Catherine Kitson. Alexandra Kurek. Sophie Lang. Are we okay? Yeah, perfect. Paula Langan. Nearly didn't make it, Paula. Saoirse Lardner. Anthony Lawler. Calvin Leahy. Kate Leahy. Aidan Linan. Now we actually have twins graduating here. It's really exciting. So we have Ellen Lowe Callanan. Congratulations, Ellen. And Rose Lowe Callanan. Full of us. Hogardicus. Dara Lohan. Claire Lombard. Amy Lynch. Killian Lynch. Niamh Mahan. Kiva Mannion. Ava Mason. Aina McBride. John McCabe. Dylan McCarthy. Shauna McCauley. Niamh McCormack. Well done, Niamh. Owen McCormack O'Connell. Megan McGee. Sarah McGonigal. Tig McInerney. Lisa McKeough. Moira McLaughlin. Claire McNamara. Rebecca McSpadden. James Maher. Well done, James. David Meskel. Roisin Moore. Chloe Moran. Emma Morrissey Gleeson. Barry Moylan. David Mulqueen. Laura Mulqueen. Eliza Murphy. Paddy Murray. Ursula Myers. Sive Nicalig. Holly Nigonal. Colin Nolan. Gavin Nolan. Liam Nolan. Brian Noonan. Amy Noonan Neville. Amy O'Brien. Colin O'Brien. Courtney O'Brien. Leah O'Brien. Ross O'Brien. Ciara O'Carroll. Orna O'Connell. Roisin O'Connell. Grace O'Connor. Jade Louise O'Connor. Ashlyn O'Donnell. David O'Donnell. Kate O'Donnell. Saoirse O'Donnell. Nisha O'Donoghue. Daniel O'Donovan. Orla O'Driscoll. Lauren O'Driscoll Kelly. Cheyenne O'Farrell Malloy. Catherine O'Flaherty. Niamh O'Halloran. Moira O'Leary. Ciara O'Mahony. Grace O'Mahony. Emer O'Malley. Grania O'Neill. Luke O'Neill. Niamh O'Neill. Sam O'Neill. Sinead O'Reilly. Casey O'Riordan. Ciara O'Rourke. Katie O'Sullivan. Lorraine O'Sullivan. Kiva Palmer. Sophie Parkinson. Kerry-Ann Power. Leah Mary Power. Ryan Points. April Quinn. Susie Rice. Emma Roach. Saoirse Rowland. Dermot Ryan. Misha Ryan. Orla Ryan. Chloe Siri. Michelle Shanahan. Emma Sheehan. Aisling Sheedy. Maeve Sheedy. Dylan Simpson. Derek Sinnott. Emma Slattery. Orla Slyman. David Smith. Rebecca Smith. Catherine Sparling. Rebecca Sullivan. Ciara Sweeney. Clarice Tobin. Colin Tooth. Evan Turley. Philip Wall. Brendan Walsh. Shauna Walsh. Aoife Walsh. Chloe Watson. Alison Whiston. And last but definitely not least, Kayla Hooley. Well done. Bachelor of Arts, class of 2022, Cócor de Casellic Galer. Fantastic achievement. And the mic survived as well. Right, we shall move on to the Bachelor of Arts in Contemporary and Applied Theatre Studies. And our first graduate this afternoon is Erin Fitzgerald. Ryan Goodfellow. Veronica Ivanova. Piper MacDonald. Jade Milan. Jack O'Connell. And finally, Emma Ryan. Congratulations. BA CATS graduates of 2022. Graduate Diploma in Applied Linguistics. Candidates on this program are conferred in absentia. And Graduate Program in International Development Practice. Candidates on this program are conferred in absentia. So we move on to the Masters of Arts in Applied Linguistics. And our first graduate today is Sarah Baldy-Knuffel. Rosanna Bastos Ferreira Whitman. John Maloney. Patrick Spillane. No. Dominic? Dominic John Tompkins. Sinead Whelan. And finally, Janet Wick. Congratulations to all the Masters of Arts in Applied Linguistics graduates today. Now we move on to the Masters of Arts in Modern English Literature, and our first graduate this afternoon is Lorna Connolly. Isabel Downs. Quiva Higgins. Patricia Long. Niamh Meany. Helena O'Neill. Rachel Payne. And finally, Laura Waldorf. Congratulations to everyone receiving their MA in Modern English Literature today. Master Snadana Sagailga, this candidate on this programme will be conferred in absentia, so we move on to the Masters of Arts in History. And our first graduate this afternoon is Geraldine Burke. Kieran Grace. Judith Hurley. Ciara Nash. Nicholas Plews. And finally, Matthew Shinners. Well done. To all on the MA History programme, warmest congratulations. Right, we move on to the Masters of Arts in Media Studies, and our first candidate this afternoon is Michael Ikiibu. And our second candidate is Michael's wife, and that's Edith Ikiibu. So congratulations, very busy year for this couple. Our next graduate is David Kennedy. Eleanor McDevitt. Right, so we move on then to our next awards, which are Masters of Arts. I'd like to call on Professor William Leahy, Dean of the Faculty of Arts, to present the candidates for the awards of Master and Doctoral degrees by research and thesis.
President, the Academic Council of the University has been satisfied that the following candidates are worthy to be confirmed with Master and Doctoral degrees by research and thesis in arts. Therefore, I present the candidates and request you to confer the awards on them.
Master of Arts by Research and Thesis, and the graduate today is Paul Breen. Well done, Paul. Okay, so we are now moving on to our doctoral candidates. Extremely exciting moment. So the doctoral candidates will be presented with their caps by their supervisors. The doctoral candidates will then be presented with their parchment by the President of the University of Limerick. So we start today with Dr. Yasir Suleiman Abdurrahman Almuez. No, this candidate will be conferred in absentia. Sorry, pardon me. I'm going to read actually Dr. Almuez's citation. So Dr. Almuez has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the joint supervision of Dr. Anne O'Keefe and Dr. Joan O'Sullivan, MIC. The title of the thesis is A Corpus-Based Comparative Pragmatic Analysis of Irish English and Canadian English. And Dr. Almuez is not with us today, but will be conferred in absentia. Dr. Lilith Avestian has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the joint supervision of Dr. Joan O'Sullivan and Dr. Anne O'Keefe, MIC. The title of the thesis is Investigating Language Corpora as a Grammar Development Resource. Dr. Avestian is unable to be here today, but is in Armenia watching the live stream of the Conferring. So hello, Dr. Avestian, warmest congratulations on your PhD. Dr. Avestian is conferred in absentia. Dr. Margaret Brown has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the supervision of Dr. Angela Cloak-Hayes, MIC. The title of the thesis is Mediterranean Sea Surface Temperatures and Planktonic Foraminifera Paleoecology during the Short-Term Climate Oscillations of the Late Pleistocene. The doctoral candidate will now be presented with her cap by Dr. Angela Cloak-Hayes. Congratulations, Dr. Brown. Dr. Tom Carroll has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the joint supervision of Dr. Daniel O'Connell and Reverend Professor Eamon Conway. The title of the thesis is An Evaluation of the Compatibility of Mindfulness and Ethos in the Irish Catholic Primary School. Dr. Carroll will now be presented with his cap by Dr. Daniel O'Connell. Dr. Clara Hoyne has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the supervision of Dr. Suzanne Egan. The title of the thesis is ABCs and 1-2-3s, the role of the home learning environment in cognitive and socio-emotional development in early childhood. The doctoral candidate will now be presented with her cap by Dr. Suzanne Egan. Dr. Judith King has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the supervision of Reverend Professor Dr. Eamon Conway. The title of the thesis is Walking Back to Earth, the Enduring Appeal of Ancient Pilgrimage as Portal to the Sacred for the Contemporary Seeker. Dr. King will now be presented with her cap by Professor William Leahy. Congratulations, Dr. King. Well done. Dr. Geogratis Kizweka has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the supervision of Dr. Eugene O'Brien, MIC. The title of the thesis is A Literary Theoretical Exploration of Silenced African Women from Psychoanalytic and Feminist Perspectives. Dr. Kizweka is watching the Conferring with Friends and Family in Tanzania today, so congratulations, Dr. Kizweka. He's there conferred in absentia. Dr. Timon Lansdale has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the supervision of Dr. Basil Vasilikos, MIC. The title of the thesis is Heidegger on Truth and Subjectivity, a Nihilistic Interpretation. Dr. Lansdale is unable to be present today. He is therefore conferred in absentia. Dr. Geraldine Mark has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the supervision of Dr. Anne O'Keefe, MIC, and Professor Pascual Perez Parades, Universidad de Murcia. The title of the thesis is A Journey Through Learner Language, Tracking Development Using Part-of-Speech Tag Sequences in Large-Scale Learner Data. Dr. Mark will now be presented with her cap by Dr. Anne O'Keefe. Congratulations. A lot of hugs on graduation day. It's the way it should be. Dr. Shane O'Neill has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the supervision of Dr. David Clare and Dr. Michael Finneran. The title of the thesis is A Form to Accommodate the Mess, a genetic self-translation study of Samuel Beckett's dramatic writing. Dr. O'Neill will now be presented with his cap by Dr. David Clare. Dr. Ana Maria Terrazas Calero has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the supervision of Dr. Anne O'Keefe, MIC, and Professor Carolina Amador Moreno, University of Bergen, and we're delighted that our co-supervisor could join us. The title of the thesis is Jesus, Keep Talking Like That and You'll Fit Right In, an investigation of oral Irish English in contemporary Irish fiction. The doctoral candidate will now be presented with her cap by Dr. Anne O'Keefe. And a special welcome to Professor Amador Moreno, who's travelled from Norway to be with us today. Cogor the Cuss. I think we might take a big round of applause for all our PhD candidates. Such an achievement to get a PhD after the last couple of years. It's extraordinary. Well done. We're now moving to Faculty of Education Awards, and the Assistant Dean of the Faculty, Dr. Angela Canny, will present the candidates for the conferring of Taught Postgraduate Awards in Education.
President, the Academic Council of the University has been satisfied that the following candidates are worthy to be conferred with Taught Postgraduate Awards. Therefore, I present the candidates and request you to confer the awards on them.
So we start with the Graduate Certificate in Autism Studies, and our first candidate today is Maura Cronin. Elaine Crowley. Aoife Deavy. Rihanna Delaney. Claire English. Pamela Fawcett. Mairead Landers. Sive Leonard. Eileen Mary Lyons. Katie Louise Mahan. Michelle McCoy. Aisling McInerney. Emer McSherry. Karen Murphy. Amanda O'Sullivan. Well done, Amanda. Gladys Atono Atson Okahai. Laura Phelan. Sharon Powell. And finally, Patricia Young. Congratulations, all of you. We now move on to the Graduate Diploma in Autism Studies, and our first candidate this afternoon is Valerie Atkinson. Denise Conway Carmody. Gina Lawler. Anne O'Dowd. Okay, our next program is the Graduate Diploma in Special Education. And our first graduate this afternoon is Kelly Bailey. Well done, Kelly. Deirdre Marie Begley. Teresa Brooks. Amy Buckley. Connor Burke. Ciara Carroll. Elaine Casey. Siobhan Colclough. Breda Mary Conroy. Joanne Crowley. Fiona Geraldine Fitzgerald. Maeve Foxton. Anna Maria Teresa Gahan. Fiona Griffin. Martina Mary Griffin. Shane Griffin. Geraldine Kelly Gearan. Jodie Harkin. Robert Anthony Hart. Jack Hayes. Niamh Hennigan. Grania Mary Carney. Kate Elizabeth Kennedy. Laura Leahy. Karen Louise Lennon Brennan. Lisa McInerney. Aileen McKenna. Jennifer Mary Minogue. Mary Murray. Esther Mora Gulchainig. Rochelle Denise O'Sullivan. Amy Quirk. Coach Ryan. Roisin Ryan. Louise Marie Tyler. We now move on to the Master of Education in Special Education, and our first graduate this afternoon is Tamara Mary Hogan. Austin Newman. And Elizabeth Sheeran. Now, our next programme is the Tastas Sanidicus Longailga agus Gaeltachta, and our first graduate this afternoon is Colm O'Casig. Well done, Colm. And our next graduate is Kira Nichondov. Well done, Kira. Cogordacus. Our next programme is the Tastas Iarchema I Dagast over Vonaha, San Irvon Scalias Longailga agus Gaeltachta. And our first graduate this afternoon is Shauna Doherty. No? Bernadine? Bernadine Egan. Lorna Lane. Sorcha Nagel. Rachel Nigonavon. Mary Tierney. Well done, Mary. Cogardacus. Our next programme is the Diploma Iarchéma Sanidicus Long Gaelga agus Gaeltachta, and the candidate on this programme is conferred in absentia. We move on then to the Mástruch Sanidicus Long Gaelga, and the graduate this afternoon is Murani Arachton. Our next programme is the Mástruch Sanidicus Long Gaelga agus Gaeltachta, and our first graduand this afternoon is Kate Dennehy. John James Frawley. Sheila Nicholan. Alva Nichanila. Aisling Mora Niflarta. Katie Ní Garrels. Helen Ní Gorham. Jennifer Ní Vahuna. Nora Ní Varachu. Lauren Ní Nail. Anya Ní Huhel. Ruth Nichen Vrahunig. Shauna Nichen Clegg. Cahuro Lira. Sinead Rourke. Sylvia Nihan Leach. And finally, Orla Nigowan. The Assistant Dean of the Faculty of Education, Dr. Angela Canny, will present the candidate for the conferring of a doctoral degree by research and thesis in education.
President, the Academic Council of the University has been satisfied that the following candidate is worthy to be conferred with a doctoral degree by research and thesis. Therefore, I present the candidate and request you to confer the award on her.
The doctoral candidate will be presented with her cap by her supervisor and then with her parchment by the President of the University of Limerick. Dr. Aisling Mythen has successfully undertaken a programme of study and research under the supervision of Dr. Dorothy Morrissey and Dr. Michael Finneran, MIC. The title of the thesis is A Literary Arts-Based Narrative Inquiry into the Lived Experiences of Women in Higher Education Management and Leadership in Ireland. Dr. Mythen will now be presented with her cap by Dr. Dorothy Morrissey. I now have the great pleasure in introducing our special awards. And our first award this afternoon is the College Gold Medal on the Bachelor of Arts programme. The gold medal is awarded to the graduate who achieved first place on the Bachelor of Arts programme. The President of MIC will present this medal, and the recipient this year is Grace O'Connor. Well done, Grace. The College Gold Medal on the Bachelor of Arts in Contemporary and Applied Theatre Studies programme. This medal is awarded to the graduate who achieved first place on the Bachelor of Arts in Contemporary and Applied Theatre Studies. I call upon the President of MIC to present this medal. The recipient this year is Ryan Goodfellow. Well done, Ryan. The St. Bonaventure Trust Prize. This prize is awarded to the graduate who achieved first place in Theology and Religious Studies on the Bachelor of Arts programme. I call upon Bishop Leahy to present the prize, and the recipient this year, she's got two today, is Grace O'Connor. Well done. Brownie Vamail. Brunter Brownie Vamail an Machlain leis an Tora is Irdas na Modul Gaelga guid a dód an chlár blatsel na dána, agus a chur an trochtas fochéime grích Rain na Gaelga. Brunter Brownie Bramail guine Chean Antón ó Bramail an chéad chlórthar a vísa chaláiste. Bawalum gléach an Olive William Leahy dí na dáin chun an dúis a bhronna Saibh ní Cheallaigh. Thógárdachas Saibh. I now call upon Professor Kirsten May, the President of the University of Limerick, to make her address.
Accorda Ile, Kate Mille Falche. Firstly, I would like to thank President Eugene Wall and everyone at MIC for the warm welcome here today. As President of University of Limerick, it gives me great pleasure to address you, the graduates of class of 2022, trustees, members of An Tudaras Rilaha, and members of An Cormala Arkadul, and colleagues, and indeed all invited guests on your graduation ceremony. Graduates, may I offer you the warmest of congratulations on completing this hugely important part of your learning journey. I'm sure you will agree that your journey through education has been exciting, challenging, and indeed not without a great deal of effort, commitment, and perseverance. However, today you are celebrating the fact that you have excelled academically, and all while we face some of the darkest and most challenging days in recent history. The tapestry of our society is facing more challenges day by day, and for many of us, those challenges have become the ever-present backdrop to normality in our lives. Succeeding in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath cannot be underestimated, as it shows tenacity, focus, and strength of character for each and every one of you to be graduating here today. Graduates, be proud of your accomplishment. I'm sure your family, your friends, your tutors, and your peers share in that pride. This occasion brings with it many reasons to celebrate and indeed to look to the future. When we look back at our history, we remember how we started as both pioneers and entrepreneurs and ended up as leaders. Our agility in responding to the challenges of our time and our academic award will allow you to become the leaders, pioneers, and entrepreneurs that will drive societal change for the better. Receiving your degree closes one chapter of your life while also opening the pages for new beginnings. At this time of new beginnings, we are asking ourselves many questions to sense and feel, consider and conjure up our future. Circumstances of the most recent past have brought into sharp focus the many global challenges we now face. Climate change and planetary health, the war in Europe adding to the ongoing military conflicts worldwide, and carrying the real potential of expanding into a global conflagration. Mass migration and significant challenges to human rights and social justice, while we continue to face extreme changes to energy, water and food security, and experience the impact of severely disrupted supply chains. It is clear that we simply cannot be passive about our future, and thinking 5 to 10 years ahead is too short-sighted. We need viable long-term plans as well as concrete actions in the here and now that make a difference. Graduates, you have a chance to make a difference, and you are equipped to do so thanks to the knowledge, skills, and experience you have attained during your time at Mary Immaculate College. Technological and societal changes happen at an accelerated pace and have taken on disruptive and transformational qualities. Yet their outcomes and impacts are not yet defined, and neither is our future. Therefore, we all carry the responsibility to shape how we live and socialize, how we work and engage to ensure that the next generations can thrive and prosper too. And as the past 30 months have demonstrated, we will be stronger and achieving more when we act together with humanity, compassion, and solidarity. My hope and the hope of your institution is that we continue to harness the power of talent, imagination, and partnerships to advance society where necessary, and through many small steps, literally change the world. Mary Immaculate College and UL continue to strive for excellence in research and education to address societal challenges regionally, nationally, and globally, and to shape a thrivable world. A thrivable world means a world that enables the future evolution of humankind and the respective stewardship for the planet, all life on Earth, and the engagement for the common good. This future is still within our grasp, but only just. Therefore, you, the graduates of today, the advice that I would like to give for your future is that sustainability has to be the bedrock of any development and enterprise. As guiding principle, sustainability has to direct everything we do. It is imperative that we take responsibility for sustainability very seriously. And graduates, I urge you to take that vision and responsibility and mirror it where possible in your lives. As students, as graduates and staff, both past and present, we have the power to contribute massively to our communities. Learners of all ages and stages need to focus on inquisitiveness and the imagination. We all have to develop an ability to live with ambiguity and to embrace complexity, to adapt and change. And above all, we have to learn and develop throughout the whole span of our lives. Graduates, for all of you here today, the achievement of graduating has been hard-earned through dedication and focus and some degree of self-sacrifice, I'm sure. You have been helped on your journey to this point by a network of supporters. Now, graduates, take a moment to thank your parents and guardians, your partners and family, your friends and supporters, as well as the members of Mary Immaculate College, lecturers, academic and technical support staff, and administrators, all of whom I'm sure are very proud of your accomplishments. To conclude, I will offer you this. Be cognizant of your own self-worth, your growth potential and your ability to achieve, and crucially, determine what success means for you. Savor the short-term accomplishments, but be mindful of your long-term aspirations and fulfillment, professionally and personally. And all the while, think carefully about your priorities and about what you can give to others and how you can influence the communities you live and work in. Indeed, it is heartwarming to see that the future is in safe hands when I look out into this gathering, and safe in the knowledge that when life does become uncertain, you will always find comfort and sustenance from the achievements that we mark in your graduation here today. Graduates, feel tall, be proud, savor and relish the achievements of today, and go out into the world to make a change. Many congratulations and thank you very much. Congratulations, Liv Goler Agos Gorf Mile Moragot.
I now call upon Professor Eugene Wall, President of Mary Immaculate College, to make his conferring address.
Mayor of Limerick, Francis Foley, President of the University of Limerick, Professor Kirsten May, Bishop Lee, trustees of the college, members of An Tuaithe Rás Rialta, college staff and students, distinguished guests, parents, friends and graduates of the class of 2022. Farum fair Queen Fáilte Roy Villig, Goody Sharmanas Bronta an Lay and you, is Moragum Vur Go Luder Ern Law Specialta, Dar Gwyd Maclean. Tres Liam an Echtí le Gacil Cémi am Run for Par Uha and you, a Comaila Shin Ta Cogardigus o Cree le Janu Lenam Winter Shoed, Agus le Gactin a Haki Len Ar Game Ha, Agus either Voher and Lane and Shaw. To work on small. I'd like to begin, as other speakers have done, by extending my warmest congratulations to our graduates of the class of 2022 for arriving at this very important milestone in your life. We in the college share your pride today and we delight in your presence. This afternoon we have graduates from 20 different programs drawn from both the liberal arts and education, as well as from undergraduate degrees up to and including doctoral level, and you will have seen those processing across in front of you there over the last while. Over these 2 days of conferring ceremonies, we will confer 30 PhD candidates with doctoral degrees, a record number for MIC. I would like also to acknowledge the Faculty of Arts as they celebrate 30 years since the establishment of the Bachelor of Arts program. So perhaps you'd give a round of applause for that, please. As has already been alluded to earlier, the pathway to graduation is rarely a solitary one. Behind every graduate, there are always other people who've also been part of the journey that has culminated in this ceremony. On behalf of Mary Immaculate College and its graduates, let me express our gratitude to you for your support, your strength and your trust in the years that have led to this days, and to the immense difference that those qualities have made to those who've just graduated. I know you're justifiably proud as parents and supporters today, and I say thank you. And I would just like, perhaps, if the graduates would extend a round of applause to those important people in their lives. I now wish on your behalf to thank the Mary Immaculate College staff members from the academic faculties and the professional services departments who've worked with you over the past years to help you arrive at this happy day. Their dedication and their expertise has helped to transform you into the skilled, competent, aware individuals that you are today. And while all of our focus of the work here is on our students, it's our staff who are our greatest resource. We've much to thank them for, and perhaps you'd also acknowledge their professionalism and commitment. Our colleague Carrie Ryan is retiring shortly, having worked in MIC for 42 years. She's been at the heart of every conferring ceremony here for the past 35 years. I want to thank her for her absolute dedication, her savoir-faire, and her impeccable attention to detail, which has been the keystone of every graduation ceremony here in MIC since 1987. I want to thank the University of Limerick, with whom we've been affiliated for 30 years and who've ratified your degrees and deemed your standard of achievement suitable for admission to the ranks of its graduates. Professor Kirsten May also I would like to thank for her presence with us at this conferring ceremony. But not only that, I also want to express my gratitude to her for her constant support since becoming president. And for their contribution to today's ceremony, I want to thank in particular the mace bearer of the University of Limerick, John O'Neill, and Mary Darmody, our sign language interpreter. Inside every adult lurks a graduation speaker, dying to get out. Some world-weary pundit eager to pontificate on life to young people who'd rather be rollerblading. Most of us, alas, will never be invited to sow our words of wisdom among an audience of caps and gowns. But there's no reason why we can't entertain ourselves by composing a guide for graduates. These are the words of Mary Schmick, writing in June 1997 in the Chicago Tribune. Although the reference to rollerblades is a mite dated, her article is witty, partly tongue-in-cheek, and contains some unfaded nuggets of advice. Her foremost recommendation to her would-be audience of graduates is to wear sunscreen. In her own words, if I could offer you only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. The long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proven by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. Not to be knocked, however, meandering experiences are the lifeblood of many graduation speeches, and this one is no different. Besides Schmick's sunscreen commencement address attained legendary status and was turned into a hit record and 2 music videos, which I invite you to peruse on YouTube at your leisure if you feel yourself in need of such advice. During the lockdown phases of the pandemic, walking each evening or night provided me with a welcome respite from being stuck in front of a computer screen for endless hours. While I certainly recognise the beneficial effects of walking, it's probably up there with sunscreen, it's not an activity that I find intrinsically enjoyable. So discovering audiobooks and podcasts allowed me to learn about multiple topics that interested me while simultaneously assuaging my childhood-instilled anxiety about wasting time on unproductive activities such as walking. Hans Rosling was a Swedish physician and a distinguished professor of international health at Karolinska Institute in Sweden, which is ranked amongst the top medical schools in the world. He served as a health advisor to the World Health Organization, to UNICEF, and several aid agencies. In 2012, he was included in Time magazine's 100 list of the world's most influential people. He died from pancreatic cancer in February in 2017, almost 3 years before the onset of the pandemic. His book, Factfulness, completed and published posthumously by his son and his daughter-in-law in 2018, accurately predicted the coming of a destructive global pandemic. Of course, he wasn't unique in that. Several other agencies issued similar warnings and were ignored. The full title of his book, Factfulness, 10 Reasons Why We're Wrong About the World and Why Things Are Better Than You Think, clearly reveals the theme of his book. It's his strong contention that people are profoundly misguided in their negative views about progress in the world. And he robustly challenges the often held view that things are worse than they've ever been, and they're getting worse all the time. He relies on a range of population statistics which purport to demonstrate that at a global level, poverty levels are falling, education standards are rising, there are marked improvements in public health and life expectancy, and whether it's about natural disasters or crime levels, the world is a safer place to live than in the past. Most humans, or at least most of those living in the developed world, believe the contrary, according to Rosling, and he argues that this is largely due to an inherent human bias towards negativity and distorted reasoning, aided and abetted by sensational reporting in sectors of the media. Like many of Rosling's audiences at the beginning of his talk, I'm sure many of you are skeptical about these claims. Rejecting descriptions of himself as an optimist, he describes himself as a possibilist. I see all this progress, and it fills me with conviction and hope that further progress is possible. His work, as you might imagine, is not without its critics, and much of this centres on his lack of attention to environmental sustainability and to ecological concerns. Last year, Mark Henry, he's Irish, and he trained as a psychologist and led the research and strategy functions of a number of Irish technology companies before turning to work in tourism. He penned a book entitled, In Fact, An Optimist's Guide to Ireland at 100. Echoing the positive sentiments in Rochling's work, he celebrates 100 achievements that have transformed this country from a poverty-stricken country at the edge of Europe since the time that we gained independence. According to Professor Luke O'Neill, and I see we have a namesake of Professor Luke O'Neill, another Luke O'Neill who graduated there. According to Professor Luke O'Neill in Trinity College Dublin, who will be familiar to most of you, if you want to cheer yourself up, read this book. It'll counter all the doom and gloom out there using real-life data that confirms what a great country Ireland is. Now, not everybody is so enthused by these outpourings of positivity. Some would argue passionately that they deflect us from serious problems and challenges at both national and global level. I was born a decade after the end of World War II. I realise how much that dates me. And grew up in the shadow of that appalling carnage. I still recall as a 15-year-old reading a graphic account of the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. I remember vividly as an 8-year-old standing at a bus stop coming home from school at lunchtime, discussing if the world would be plunged into nuclear Armageddon, as seemed eminently possible at the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis. In the years after I finished college, there was rampant unemployment in Ireland, leading to widespread emigration. In 1986, the unemployment rate in Ireland was over 17%. Last month it was 4.3%, and that's after the effects of a pandemic. In 1981, the year before we bought our first house, the annual rate of inflation in Ireland was 20.3%. We have raging inflation now of 8.2% at a time of a cost of living crisis. At that stage, it was twice the EU average. In 1961, only 3.4% of those between 19 and 24 were in higher education. The figure's almost 60% now. If you look at the World Happiness Report for the year 2022, you'll find that Ireland ranks 13th out of 146 countries, sandwiched between Australia and Germany. In 2021, Ireland ranked second in the world on the UN Human Development Index. This year it dropped to 8. Now, even if you allow for the inflated economic statistics, and they are boosted in a number of ways, Ireland is still far from the failed state that it's misleadingly portrayed as. So there is decisive, objective evidence that on a range of economic and social indicators, Ireland has made impressive strides over the decades. But as one of the panellists on the Brendan O'Connor show, and it wasn't my colleague Niamh here who does feature on it from time to time, as one of the panellists pointed out a few weeks back, you try telling that to young adults who are sitting across the breakfast table from parents when they'd much rather be living independently and on the property ladder. However, it's important for me to be unequivocal on this. Recognising that positive change has occurred is neither an encouragement to sit on our national laurels, nor to deny that both nationally and globally there are significant challenges to be faced. Equally, just because a country is not a failed state, it doesn't mean that it isn't failing to address the needs and expectations of sectors of society. There's growing evidence, both national and international, of a widening divide between younger and older generations in relation to life satisfaction and future optimism. In fact, unless you're completely disengaged from both mainstream and social media, it's impossible to be unaware of rising disenchantment amongst younger age groups about what the future holds. In a recent OECD cross-national survey of trust in government and public institutions carried out across 22 OECD countries, young people in Ireland aged between 19 to 29 were found to have the second lowest levels of trust in government. Only Colombia scored lower. In contrast, Irish people aged 50 and over had the third highest levels of trust, with just 2 Nordic countries scoring higher. A recent survey conducted on behalf of the National Youth Council of Ireland and widely reported on found that more than 70% of young people in Ireland aged between 18 to 24, which is probably most of our graduates here, stated that they're considering moving abroad because they believe that they would enjoy a better quality of life elsewhere. The same survey reported that 8 out of 10 young people are fearful for the future. And when you delve further, young people in Ireland are concerned that it will not be possible to attain an acceptable standard of living, and issues such as affordability of housing and the cost of living are key concerns. Surprisingly, perhaps, similar concerns are to be found in many other developed Western countries. A recent headline in the Guardian newspaper in Britain reads, "Generation Z," which is the generation that I just referred to there, faces a brutal truth. Finding a decent home will be a lifelong struggle, and that's, as I said, in the British context. UNICEF and Gallup's Changing Childhood Project survey, which was conducted in 21 countries and published last year, found that overall, and this will be a surprise, overall, young people are more optimistic about the future than their older counterparts. 54% of young people between 15 and 24 across the country surveyed said today's children will be better off economically as adults than their parents are. Only 45% of older people thought that was the case. However, and here's the rub, when you look at high-income countries such as the United States, Japan, Spain, France and Germany, and Ireland would be included in that, the situation is reversed, and as the report states, there's little faith in economic progress. Overall, young people in these countries are almost twice as likely to think they'll be worse off than their parents as they think that as the number that think they will be better off. Concern about mental well-being for children and among young people comes out strongly from the report. Pessimism about well-being is strongest in high-income countries and amongst better-off young people. Despite its many undoubted benefits, social media plays a destructive role in enabling online bullying and harassment, in bombarding us with disinformation, hyping negativity, promoting hatred, and intensifying moral outrage. While this cannot be ignored, it's also naive and far too simplistic to blame social media alone for rising levels of mental health issues. Clearly, the pandemic, financial worries, and other factors contribute to the psychological burdens and struggles of everyday life. What I've attempted to demonstrate in the earlier part of my speech is that even when confronted with problems that appear insurmountable, and even when the future seems bleak, the history of human progress illustrates that there will always be hope to build a better tomorrow. This won't happen if at a personal or a societal level we become engulfed by negativity or succumb to a culture of pessimism. As Sidney Harris, the American journalist and drama critic, has written, a cynic is not merely someone who reads bitter lessons from the past. He's one who's prematurely disappointed in the future. In the interest of your own mental well-being, graduates, you should be aware of those people who thrive on constant negativity and pessimism, or as Albert Einstein has observed, stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. As I draw to a close, let me be crystal clear. My goal is not to downplay the seriousness of the challenges that face us, both globally and nationally, in the months and years ahead. Nor am I advocating some sort of shallow positivity. What I am talking about is nurturing the determination and the resolve that are required to drive the vision of how to create a better and sustainable future, drawing on many of the qualities and attributes that got you here today. To each generation falls the obligation to build on the accomplishments of the past and to redeem the errors of its predecessors. It's always been so. The flawed, vulnerable world that you're inheriting is nonetheless a precious world, and it's nihilistic and defeatist to believe otherwise. As Andy Dufresne says in The Shawshank Redemption, I guess it comes down to a simple choice. Get busy living or get busy dying. My parting advice to you is to get busy living. And for now, as this graduation draws to a close, let me, on behalf of your alma mater, wish you all the best for your lives and careers and in the future. Go dugad í a gach-rach agus banartíh, Hervor Dros Seal.
As our ceremony draws to a close, I'd like to extend my gratitude to everybody involved in today's event. I think even when people come into the room, you see the enormous amount of work that went into preparing today's ceremony. It's the result of weeks of preparation. It's impossible to name everyone, but I would like to acknowledge the work of people working in the following functions here at MIC: Student Academic Administration, the President's Office, Strategic Communications and Marketing, Buildings and Estates, ICT, MISU, which is our Students' Union. We are truly delighted to host today's ceremony. It was a pleasure to be involved and to witness how hard everyone worked to make this event such a success for you, our new graduates. Buíochas ó Críoh Galéir, please stand now for the national anthem. Congratulations, class of 2022.